Hi everyone, I'm Stacy Juba and I'm the founder of Shortcuts for Writers and the creator of Book Editing Blueprint. I know deciding whether to purchase an online course is a big decision, so I wanted to offer a more extensive tour of Book Editing Blueprint than a short trailer on my website. The class is geared toward beginner and intermediate fiction and creative nonfiction writers. As you go through the course, if you've finished a draft of your manuscript, then you'll evaluate it through the eyes of a developmental editor. If you're still writing the book, the course can help you to stay on track and keep you from making structural mistakes. And then you can revisit the checklist down the line when you're ready to edit. If your book is still in the very early stages, then you can use the course to help you develop and outline your ideas and give them a strong backbone, as well as learn how to improve your overall writing technique. Just to give you a little background, as I was creating Book Editing Blueprint, I surveyed writers in my Shortcuts for Writers Facebook group and on social media and asked them what they thought must be included in a self-editing course. They provided me with well-thought-out responses, and I used their feedback to make sure I was giving authors exactly what they needed in the course. Once you've enrolled in Book Editing Blueprint, you'll be guided to set up a password, and then you'll be able to access the classroom. In the Welcome section, I have some getting started tips, and I explain about the setup. I also point out the discussion section that you'll find in each lesson. You can leave questions for me, and I've left several for you. It's also a way to interact with other students who are going through the program. I remind you that the goals of this class are to evaluate and prep your book for a thorough, developmental, and line edit. You won't actually edit your book during the course because you don't want to just jump into editing. You need an action plan to make the process as streamlined as possible. I also don't want it to take you several months to get through the course. You have the option of either binging through it in about 10 to 14 days, or you could go at a slower pace. I do recommend scheduling time in your calendar and aiming for at least one module per week. I also have a Choose Your Own Adventure section where I talk about different learning styles. There's a downloadable workbook with assignments that go along with each lesson. And you have a choice of downloading it right away and doing the worksheets as you finish each lesson, or you can download the workbook at the end of the course and do them all at once. The workbook has practice worksheets where you can edit passages that you didn't write. And it also has checklists and several worksheets to help you assess your book in each of the key lesson areas. Those worksheets will essentially serve as an extensive editorial letter to yourself, the same type of letter that a developmental editor would send you. Although the course is geared toward novelists, it would also be useful for those who write creative nonfiction, such as memoirs or biographies. If your nonfiction book is telling a story about people and places, then it can be enhanced through fiction writing techniques. I added a bonus lesson for the creative nonfiction authors where I give them some examples from newspaper feature stories I've written and explain how they can apply the upcoming concepts to their nonfiction project. Then you can go to Module 1, which is about character. One note on the lessons. Most of the earlier lessons in the course have a short video between 4 to 10 minutes, and then under the video is a transcript. In those cases, you have the option of just watching the video, just reading the transcript, or doing both. That goes back to the different learning styles, so you don't have to feel pressure to do both unless that's your preference. All the transcripts are bundled together in a couple of PDFs at the end of the course, so you can also download them or print them out. So in Module 1, we talk about thematic statement, character arcs, antagonists, and supporting characters. Module 2 focuses on plotting and 3-act structure, and we also delve into the elements of time. Module 3 centers on point of view and going deep. We talk about third person and first person, and we also touch on omniscient and second person. This point of view quiz is an example of the interactive quizzes sprinkled throughout the course. They're short, but will help to reinforce the lessons and give you editing practice. You'll also get instant feedback and can retake them later if you'd like. In Module 4, we'll tackle Show Don't Tell through lessons on description, backstory, research, and nonverbal communication. I also give you a demo of a feature in Microsoft Word and Google Docs that can help with your self-editing. Module 5 is all about dialogue, so we get into basic dialogue, more advanced techniques, and dialect. We also discuss internal thought and how to make that sound natural. We cover pacing in Module 6 with lessons on purpose, tension, and chapter endings. Then in Module 7, the format changes a bit. We dive into one of my favorite topics, line editing. There are so many elements to line editing, and you really need to learn it by reading examples. So most of these lessons are text-based, and they're broken up with charts to make it easier to digest. From this point forward, you don't have the option of watching the video or reading the transcript. You really need to read through the lessons, but I did include a recap video that goes over all the main points. Module 8 is about copy editing, which is more technical than line editing and centers on things like grammar, punctuation, and continuity. Again, you have to read the written lessons, and those focus on the most common copy editing mistakes that I see. If you have a lot of trouble with grammar and punctuation, this won't replace your need to hire a copy editor, but it can save you money on paid hours and repeated rounds of copy editing. The cleaner you can make your manuscript, the less time a professional will have to spend on it. The copy editing section does include several tutorial videos where I use actual manuscript pages to demonstrate running a spell check, as well as scans through Grammarly and Pro Writing Aid software. There are also written lessons on tricky words and phrases, 10 common grammar mishaps, the 4 C's of copy editing, and copy editing resources. Module 9 discusses the nitty-gritty of what you should know about hiring editors, and we talk about the different types of editors. I also have videos demonstrating how most editors use track changes to mark up a manuscript. The module also has some tips for proofreading, and we talk about how extensive your proofreading should be after working with editors. Throughout the course, I use excerpts from my books and from those of my clients because I know them well and don't have to worry about copyright issues. In Module 10, we look over some final examples to review what we've learned. You'll also get a copy of your book editing blueprint, a step-by-step 25-page checklist that reviews everything we've covered in the course. Once you've completed your manuscript and the class workbook, you can refer to this extensive checklist to guide you through your rewrites. It will help you to decide which order to tackle your revisions in, and to make sure you don't overlook anything. You should use the checklist hand in hand with the workbook. The checklist reviews the general issues you need to look for, while your editorial notes in the workbook will guide you through the specifics of your own strengths and weaknesses and remind you how all of this applies to your particular manuscript. As you fix or check a particular topic, you can cross it off the checklist. In the resources section, you can download all the transcripts, and they're combined in a couple of longer files so that you don't have to worry about a bunch of individual PDFs. If you haven't downloaded and done the workbook yet, you can grab it here. This section will continue to grow and has some additional areas to explore. Finally, there's a short bonus module called Foil the Frustration, Motivation Strategies for Authors, and this stems from that writer survey I did. Several authors mentioned needing encouragement and time management strategies. So before I send you off to finish that book or do your rewrites, I wanted to leave you with some motivation tips. My friend Catherine Grubb of the 10-Minute Novelists also allowed me to share some inspiring words from her book, When the Timer Dings, Organizing Your Life to Make the Most of 10-Minute Increments. So that is Book Editing Blueprint in a nutshell. You have lifetime access and access to any future updates. Again, you can take as long as you'd like to go through the course. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave a comment or send me a message. I hope to see you inside the course, and let's make editing simple.